This was a platform for creativity as well, right?
The type of content that MTV made was the type of content that the internet was made for.
I just couldn't see a way where it survived nowadays. Hi guys, this is Cut to the Take.
And today we are talking MTV closing its music channels in the UK.
The world's first 24-hour music broadcaster, MTV, decided to axe lots of its music channels here in the UK. That includes MTV Music, MTV 80s, MTV 90s, Club MTV, and MTV Live. Now, it does ultimately feel like an economic inevitability with these sort of shows, you know, and these sort of channels.
Yeah.
It's like during the 80s and the 90s, when you were watching music and wanted to start curating your own personal taste in music, where did you go? You went to MTV. You know, when it started, it was kind of like a generational thing that was just so culturally like in check with everybody, you know. It was like the version of what TikTok and TikTok, Spotify, YouTube is today.
Well, it's interesting that you bring those up because I think for me, MTV really shifted when YouTube became, if you remember, in the early 2000s into the early teens, music videos on YouTube were like the thing.
Yeah.
That was the big thing.
A lot of effort went into them.
Justin Bieber's Baby music video, I think at one point was the highest watched video on YouTube.
Yeah, ever.
Music videos were watched on YouTube more than they were watched anywhere else at that point.
Absolutely.
And I think that's kind of where the shift happened, because once you had people leaving MTV and going to YouTube, they were then within the YouTube ecosystem. And as we now see, YouTube being the channel that has the most content, you know, out there, and also viewers. Yeah. It's overtaken terrestrial TV now in terms of viewership. So I think it is a logical step for a channel and a, you know, essentially business that was relying on people watching the content on TV. Yeah. If they're people are no longer going there to watch that stuff, why would those channels work? And in recent years, you know, like, there was that show Catfish. Yeah, well,
this is what I was going to say. I mean, staying on the music video stuff, like, let's not forget as well that huge directors made their names in music videos, you know, in the 80s, the 90s, early thousands even. Music videos were a massive sort of medium for people to show off their artistic and creative skills to hopefully get you onto feature film work. David Fincher started in music videos. Spike Jonze famously did the one with Apple, the Anderson .Paak song. So this was a platform for creativity as well, right? Yeah. It's like you got offered music videos because at the time studios were putting lots of money into it, like Universal Music Group, Sony Music Group, lots of these big music companies would put loads of money behind their artists because that's how, you know, the songs got shown, you know, high production value videos, high production value music, obviously, and then populate it on a channel that was highly watched. However, I kind of feel like when YouTube came, right, MTV, I think, were kind of like, oh no, we're still MTV. We're still music.
Well, they were, of course they were.
Which of course they were. But what I think they did is they went, we can't stop this train. The train is here now. And then sooner or later, Spotify came. And then when TikTok came, it was kind of like, we're completely out of the room now. You know, this channel sort of existed now more for a nostalgia-based audience where people were still watching music and curating their music taste by watching a live channel.
But I think as well, MTV was, you know, sadly, MTV, even when we were growing up, was not the beacon of like cool anymore. It was in the 90s and it was what you watched, but that was because, you know, the internet wasn't really a thing. Like the type of content that MTV made was the type of content that the internet was made for.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, like that was what digital platforms loved, that kind of content that MTV was so great at. So, you know, when the youth trying to capture that youth market, if they're not watching TV and you're MTV, you've got a big problem.
Absolutely.
I think there's an element of inevitability.
Yeah. And I kind of like want to touch on what you were saying as well. Like MTV kind of diverted into shows like Catfish. Yeah. You know, they diverted into shows like Geordie Shore. You know, that's what they did here in the UK. They went, okay, we cannot stop the advanced tech companies like YouTube and these platforms that are growing and music creators putting music on there. But what we can do is we can divert and make reality television shows.
Yeah.
So that channel is staying. The normal MTV channel, which shows Catfish and shows Geordie Shore and stuff like that, is staying. But I am curious for how long.
I think it's interesting because obviously, you know, you look at the rise of digital channels nowadays, you look at how well YouTubers are doing and how, you know, Channel 4.0 and, you know, all of those that go with it, right? That feels quintessentially MTV.
Absolutely.
That kind of content.
Yeah.
So the fact, I mean, yeah, I get it. Keeping Geordie Shore going, keeping Catfish, all of those kind of shows that are currently working for MTV. I mean, do it. We've still got Homes on the Hammer that's still been going, and Antiques Roadshow.
Replays are still being shown, aren't they?
I don't think there's, you know, it's just, are you really going to be driving new people into your channel? Probably not.
I don't think so, no, because like Geordie Shore, for example, came out at a time when I was younger. You know, I was like a big watcher of that show, you know. However, you know, because they all get older, you start to not watch it anymore. You lose your audience.
Exactly. And the same kind of content that Geordie Shore was when we were watching it is now on YouTube.
And also
it's foot asylum content. It's,
yeah.
you know, Sidemen. It's like, who is, Nico, who was in Traitors.
Yes, exactly.
You know,
exactly.
It's clear that that's becoming at the forefront. So it's a shame because MTV, you know, there is so much nostalgia, and it did create
cool.
some great.
It was really cool,
and it created some amazing
cool.
content. But like, it just wasn't fit for today's world anymore.
No,
because it's just not where people watch.
It's very curious, isn't it? But I feel like that is a case study where you go, that channel existed in a time and place that was perfect for that channel.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, in the new world, and the time came for it, basically.
Yeah.
Like, you know, ultimately, it's like, I just couldn't see a way where it survived nowadays, you know, which is why I understood why they went, we're losing the music audience. We need to go into reality TV because that's how we stay in the room.
Well, it's like Thriller, the song Thriller by Michael Jackson, right?
Okay.
That music video, I mean, we weren't alive when it came out,
but it was cool.
But that music video, from what I understand, was the thing to watch. Like it was culturally so ginormous, right? And that sort of time was also when, you know, all this money was being pumped into these music videos because they were basically shaping culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those music videos were the lifeblood of youth culture.
Of course, absolutely.
So musicians and, you know, music executives and TV executives were like, yeah, we're going to give you all the money. And then when that slowly started to go away, when youth culture was no longer really centered around music videos and it was shifting a little bit, the money slowly started to dip down.
Yeah.
And I would argue today, music videos are not what they were for youth culture.
No.
They just aren't. Which is why the money's not there, because it's not the return on investment from a business perspective, sadly, isn't there. Now, that doesn't exactly sound great in terms of like creativity.
Yeah, well, I mean,
but we have to remember it's a business at the end of the day.
I do also feel that, look, of course, the reason loads of money was pumped into making music videos brilliant was because of the ad revenue they were getting from putting it on linear television back in the day. And, you know, if a company like Budweiser,
or if you were Pepsi and you had, you know,
in the video
and you've got millions and millions of eyes on your music video, they're going to pay for that.
Millions in revenue.
Which is why the money was there.
But then the other side of that coin, I think, is, you know, the age we live in now is there was a time where loads of artists could never even get music out. They could never even showcase their music because they were sort of, you know, there was
because the big guys were dominating.
Exactly.
And you had to pay to play.
How many TikTok artists now have come up via TikTok?
Yeah.
Loads.
Yeah.
In a world where they would have never, ever even been seen. Probably never been in the room, but they've now been given a platform like YouTube or TikTok, and they've been able to actually grow and become successful.
Yeah. I think it's a shame, but I also think it's just a sign of the times.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to put it.
As Harry Styles put it.
Yeah.
Don't stop your crying. It's a sign of the times.
Exactly. You were right, Mr. Styles.
Thanks, guys, for listening. That was Cut to the Take. If you enjoyed this, make sure to click on the other videos in the playlist. Otherwise, you can go and watch our Celebrity Traitors playlist, which is a new series that we are doing whilst the show is airing. Or you can also watch the full episodes of these podcasts in the other playlists on our YouTube channel, or as always, on wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for being here. Make sure to subscribe and like if you did enjoy this video. We will see you next week. Bye.